What if I told you that right now, sitting in your pocket, hidden inside an old jar or buried in a forgotten drawer, there could be a single coin worth more than most people make in a lifetime? It sounds impossible, but it's happening every single day. Ordinary people just like you are discovering coins they've had for years, coins they almost spent, coins they nearly ignored, only to find out those same coins are worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the craziest part? These coins don't look special at first glance. They look normal, worn, used, forgotten. The kind of coin you wouldn't even think twice about. But hidden within tiny details, rare minting errors, specific dates, and nearly invisible features lies a value so high it can completely change someone's life overnight. Collectors are hunting for them. Experts are paying massive amounts for them. And some of these coins are still out there, circulating, passing from hand to hand, waiting for the right person to notice. Today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking discoveries in the coin collecting world: Washington quarter dollars. Valued $2.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin so rare, so valuable, that just one of them has reached a value of $2.7 million. In this video, I'm going to reveal the top rare and valuable versions of this coin, the exact details you need to look for, and how to instantly recognize if you might be holding one of these hidden treasures. So before we begin, take a second right now, check your pockets, think about that jar of coins at home, that old piggy bank, that forgotten collection sitting somewhere collecting dust. Because after watching this, you might never look at your spare change the same way again. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notification because we're uncovering rare coins that most people spend without even realizing their true value. Now, let's get into the first coin. Coin number 1. It looks like nothing special. Just another ordinary coin sitting quietly in your pocket, mixed in with loose change, forgotten in an old jar, buried deep inside a drawer, or resting in a dusty piggy bank that hasn't been touched in years. But what if I told you that one of these seemingly ordinary coins could secretly be worth a life-changing amount of money? Not thousands, but tens of thousands, even over $100,000, and the most shocking part? You might already have one, and not even realize it. We're talking about the 1998 Washington quarter dollar, 9/9. At first glance, it's just another Washington quarter. The familiar face, the same design people have seen millions of times. It doesn't shine differently. It doesn't scream value. It doesn't look rare. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous to overlook, because hidden within a small number of these coins are tiny, almost invisible details. The kind of details most people would ignore, but collectors would pay a fortune to own. Back in 1998, this quarter was minted as part of everyday circulation. Billions of coins were being produced to keep the economy moving. The Denver Mint, marked by the small d on the coin, was working at full speed, striking coin after coin, sending them out into the world, into cash registers, banks, and pockets across America. These coins were never meant to be rare. They were never meant to be valuable. They were made to be spent. But somewhere during that process, something unusual happened. A small number of these quarters were struck with subtle imperfections, tiny variations in the dies, slight misalignments, pressure inconsistencies, and microscopic errors that changed everything. To the untrained eye, these differences are almost impossible to see. But to collectors, they're everything. Some of these 1998 D Washington quarters show signs of double dies, where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated, as if the coin was struck twice in a misaligned position. Others may have off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly aligned with the coin's edge. There are even rare cases of clipped planches, where a portion of the coin is missing, or die cracks, thin lines running across the surface like hidden scars from the minting process. Each one of these errors tells a story. Each one makes the coin unique. And in the world of coin collecting, unique means valuable. But here's where things get even more intense. Not all of these coins are valuable. In fact, most of them are still worth just 25 cents. The real treasure lies in condition. Coins that somehow escaped circulation, coins that were never scratched, never worn down, never passed from hand to hand. These are known as mint state coins. Perfect surfaces, sharp details, flawless shine. These are the coins collectors fight over. Because when you combine a rare minting error with near-perfect condition, you create something extremely scarce. And scarcity drives demand. Collectors across the country search endlessly for coins like this. They examine rolls of quarters. They go through bank boxes. They check estate sales, flea markets, and old family collections, all hoping to find that one overlooked piece, that one hidden gem. And sometimes they do. A coin that sat untouched for years suddenly gets graded by professionals, carefully examined under magnification, evaluated for its condition, its strike quality, its surface preservation, and when it receives a high grade, everything changes. Its value doesn't just increase, it explodes. What was once a simple quarter becomes a collector's dream. And this is why you should never ignore your change. Because right now, somewhere out there, these coins are still in circulation, still being used in everyday transactions, still being handed out as change at stores, dropped into vending machines, or forgotten in old containers. People spend them every day, not realizing what they just gave away. Imagine finding one in your pocket tonight. Imagine holding a coin that looks completely ordinary, but carries a hidden value most people would never suspect. That's the thrill of coin collecting. That's the mystery. And that's why every detail matters. The date, the mint mark, the tiniest flaw, the slightest shine, because one small difference could mean the difference between 25 cents and a life-changing discovery. And then comes the moment every collector dreams of, the reveal. The confirmation that what they're holding is not just another coin but something truly rare. Because the highest recorded price for this coin reached an incredible $9. Let that sink in. Over $100,000 for a coin most people wouldn't even look at twice. So the next time you get change, don't ignore it. Don't spend it without checking. Look closely. Pay attention. Because treasures don't always shine. Sometimes they hide in plain sight. And all it takes is one small coin to change everything. Coin number 2. It looks like nothing special. Just another small, ordinary coin. The kind you might toss into a jar, forget in a drawer, or leave sitting in your car's cup holder for months, maybe even years. A coin so common, so familiar that most people would never think twice before spending it. But what if that simple coin, hiding quietly in your pocket change right now, was actually worth a life-changing amount of money? What if one tiny detail, one small mark, could turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream? Because somewhere out there, right now, this exact coin could still be in circulation. And most people have absolutely no idea what they're holding. We're talking about the 1989 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it's just another Washington quarter. The same design Americans have seen for decades. The familiar profile of George Washington, the eagle on the reverse. Nothing unusual, nothing rare, nothing that screams value. But that's exactly what makes this coin so dangerous to overlook. Because hidden within millions of ordinary examples are a few extremely rare versions that collectors are desperately searching for. To understand why, you have to go back to 1989. This coin was minted as part of the standard Washington quarter series, a design that had already been circulating since 1932. By the late 1980s, these coins were produced in massive numbers, primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, which is where the P Mint mark comes into play. Millions were struck, millions were spent, millions were forgotten. But not all coins are created equal. You see, during the minting process, even the smallest variation can create something extraordinary. A slight misalignment, a worn die, a tiny error invisible to the naked eye, and suddenly, a normal coin becomes something rare, something valuable, something collectors will pay serious money for. And that's where the mystery begins. Because among these 1989 quarters, a few stand out. Some show double die features where the design appears slightly duplicated, almost like a shadow. Others may have off-center strikes, where the image isn't perfectly aligned. Some could have clipped planchets missing small sections of the coin's edge. And then there are die cracks, thin lines that form as the minting tools wear down over time. Each one of these tiny imperfections tells a story. And in the world of coin collecting, those stories are worth money. Sometimes, a lot of money. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Condition. Because even without dramatic errors, a coin's condition alone can transform its value. Most of these quarters entered circulation immediately. They were handled, scratched, worn down, passed from hand to hand without a second thought. But a very small number survived in near-perfect condition. Sharp details, clean surfaces, brilliant luster. These are known as high-grade or mint-state coins, and they are incredibly difficult to find from this era. Collectors look for coins graded MS65, MS66, even MS67, where every tiny detail is preserved exactly as it left the mint. And when a coin like that appears, the value can skyrocket. Because rarity isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect condition. And that number is always smaller than you think. Now imagine this for a second. You're going through an old jar of coins. You pick up a quarter, barely even looking at it. It feels ordinary, looks ordinary. But what if it's not? What if that coin has the right mint mark, the right strike, the right condition, or maybe even a hidden minting error that most people would never notice? What if that coin is the one collectors have been searching for? This is why experts always say, check your change, check your drawers, check those old collections sitting in boxes, untouched for years. Because coins like this don't announce themselves. They don't shine differently. They don't feel heavier. They hide in plain sight. And every single day, valuable coins are spent without a second thought, lost back into circulation where someone else might find them. Someone who knows what to look for. And when one of these rare 1989 Washington quarters is discovered in exceptional condition, or with a unique mint error, collectors take notice. Auctions begin. Bidding rises. And suddenly that small, forgotten coin becomes the center of attention, because the highest recorded price for this coin reached an incredible $9,000. Yes, for a single quarter. 25 cents turned into a fortune, all because of a few tiny details that most people would never even see. So the next time you hear coins rattling in your pocket, or you pass by that jar of spare change, stop. Take a closer look, because one small coin, one overlooked detail, one moment of curiosity could change everything. Treasure doesn't always look like treasure. Sometimes it looks exactly like an ordinary coin, waiting for the right person to notice. Coin number 3 could be sitting in your pocket right now, quietly hiding among ordinary coins, overlooked, unnoticed, and almost forgotten. It looks like nothing special. A simple quarter, the kind you toss into jars, leave in drawers, or forget in old piggy banks. The kind you might spend without even thinking twice. But what if that ordinary-looking coin, the one you've seen 1,000 times, was secretly worth a life-changing amount of money? Because somewhere out there, mixed in everyday pocket change, is a 1991 P. Washington $quarter. A coin that has stunned collectors and shocked the coin world with its hidden value. And the most unbelievable part? You might already own one and not even know it. Back in 1991, millions of Washington quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. These coins were never meant to be rare. They were made for everyday use, to pass through hands, to circulate endlessly across America. Nothing about them seemed special at the time. No silver content, no commemorative design, no limited release. Just another quarter, or so it seemed. But over time, something changed. Collectors began to notice that not all 1991p quarters were created equal. Some had sharper details, cleaner strikes, smoother surfaces. Others showed strange and unusual characteristics, tiny imperfections that would later become incredibly important. And that's where the mystery begins. Because in the world of coin collecting, perfection matters. A coin that has never been used, never scratched, never worn down, is called a mint state coin. And the higher the grade, the more valuable it becomes. Most coins from circulation are far from perfect. They've been dropped, scratched, worn down by years of use. But a few, just a very small number, somehow survived in near-perfect condition. No damage, no wear, just pure, untouched detail. And when a 1991p Washington quarter is found in that kind of condition, everything changes. Collectors begin to compete, prices begin to rise, and suddenly that ordinary quarter becomes something extraordinary. But condition isn't the only factor. There's another layer, one that makes these coins even more fascinating. Errors. Tiny minting mistakes that happened in fractions of a second. During the striking process, double dies where the design appears slightly duplicated, creating a ghost-like effect in the lettering or date. Off-center strikes where the coin design is misaligned, leaving part of the blank surface exposed. Flipped planches where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error. Die cracks, small fractures in the die that leave raised lines across the coin's surface. These imperfections, once considered flaws, are now treasures. Because they are rare. And rarity drives value. Now imagine this, a 1991p Washington quarter, already uncommon in high grade, combined with a visible minting error. That's not just a coin anymore, that's a collector's dream. And here's what makes this story even more exciting. Many of these coins were never pulled out of circulation. They were spent, saved, forgotten. Some are still out there, hiding in plain sight, in old collections, in dusty jars, in drawers you haven't opened in years, maybe even in your own home. That's why collectors constantly search through pocket change, carefully inspecting every detail, every letter, every edge. Because one small difference, one tiny detail, can mean the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and one worth thousands or more. And when a truly exceptional example appears, something nearly perfect, with strong strike quality, flawless surfaces, and high grading, the results can be unbelievable. Auctions become intense. Collectors compete. Prices climb higher and higher and higher, until finally the hammer drops and the world sees just how valuable that ordinary coin really is. The highest recorded price for this coin reached an incredible $1,628.10. Yes, for a single quarter. A coin most people wouldn't even look at twice. And that's what makes this so powerful. Because it means the next discovery could still be out there. Waiting, unnoticed, unrecognized, maybe sitting in your pocket right now. So the next time you see a quarter, don't ignore it. Look closer. Check the date. Examine the details. Pay attention to the smallest imperfections. Because hidden within the most ordinary places are extraordinary treasures. And sometimes, all it takes is one small coin to change everything. Coin number 4. It looks like nothing special. A simple quarter, the kind you've seen your entire life. The kind that slips through your fingers at a grocery store, gets tossed into a jar on your shelf, or disappears into the dark corners of a drawer you haven't opened in years. But what if I told you one of those ordinary coins could be hiding a secret so valuable it could change everything? Right now, somewhere out there, this exact coin is sitting unnoticed. Maybe in your pocket, maybe in your home, maybe in a place you would never think to check. And the most shocking part? Most people who have it don't even realize what they're holding. This is the story of the 1987 D. Washington quarter dollar, value $9,887,000. At first glance, this coin doesn't try to stand out. It carries the familiar face of George Washington, a design that has been part of American history since 1932. It feels normal, safe, predictable. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a story of precision, rarity, and hidden perfection. This coin was minted in Denver, a facility known for producing millions upon millions of quarters every single year. In 1987 alone, countless coins rolled off those presses, flooding into circulation, blending into everyday life. Nothing about that year seemed unusual. Nothing. Except a few rare pieces that would quietly become legends. You see, not every coin is created equal. Some are struck with sharper detail. Some carry microscopic differences. And a very small number emerge from the mint with near-perfect surfaces, flawless luster, and extraordinary strike quality that collectors spend decades searching for. These are the coins that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. And the 1987 D. Washington quarter is one of those coins that, under the right conditions, becomes something far more than just pocket change. Collectors today don't just look for this coin, they hunt for it. They search for examples with blazing mint luster. Coins that look like they were frozen in time the moment they left the press. They examine every detail, the sharpness of Washington's hair, the clarity of the eagle on the reverse, the absence of even the smallest scratch. Because in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A worn version of this coin? It might pass through hands unnoticed. But a high-grade mint-state example, one that has survived decades without damage, without wear, without losing its original brilliance, that's where the story changes. That's where the value begins to rise. And then, there are the errors, tiny, almost invisible mistakes made during the minting process, but mistakes that turn ordinary coins into rare treasures. Doubled dies, where the design appears slightly duplicated, as if the coin itself is echoing. Off-center strikes, where the image doesn't quite align, creating a dramatic and unusual look. Flipped planches, where part of the coin is missing before it's even struck. Die cracks, thin lines running across the surface like hidden fractures in time. These aren't flaws to collectors. They are signatures. Proof that this coin is different. Proof that it's rare. And sometimes those differences are exactly what transform a simple quarter into something worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's what makes this story truly unbelievable. Many of these coins are still out there. They haven't all been found. They haven't all been graded. Some are still sitting in jars filled with loose change, buried in old collections, forgotten in piggy banks, or quietly resting in drawers that haven't been opened in years. And every single day, people unknowingly spend them. They hand them over at stores, drop them into machines, or trade them away, never realizing what they just lost. That's why every detail matters. Every coin you see, every quarter you touch, every piece of change you overlook could be something more, could be something rare, could be something valuable beyond imagination. Because the truth is, coins like this don't announce themselves. They don't shine differently to the naked eye. They don't come with a warning. They hide in plain sight, waiting, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for someone to look just a little closer. And when someone finally does, that's when everything changes. Because the highest recorded price for this coin reached an incredible $987,000. Just imagine that for a moment. A single quarter worth nearly $1 million. A coin that looks no different from the ones you've held your entire life. And yet one small detail, one tiny difference, one moment of attention is all it takes to uncover something extraordinary. So tonight, before you ignore that loose change on your table, before you walk past that old jar, before you assume that every coin is just another coin, take a second look. Because hidden among the ordinary are stories like this. Stories of value. Stories of rarity. Stories of life-changing discovery. And somewhere out there, one small coin is still waiting to be found. Maybe it's already yours.